All right, so this Knife Thoughts video is going to be about the Spyderco warranty process. And this is a topic that I've talked about before, but I recently got a couple of knives back from Spyderco and I wanted to talk about it again. So these are the two knives that I got back from Spyderco, a Caribbean and a Domino. And before I talk about these, I want to talk about my most recent experience with Spyderco. So I sent a knife that my niece found into Spyderco. I have a video about it, and it was an old knife from 1996, if I remember correctly. They sent it back, and the box, and I'm pretty sure of this, the box didn't have my name on it. It just said an address. Now, I got a notification from UPS, which is how they send the knives, that it had signature required, and so I wasn't going to be home, so I had it redirected to like a CVS or Walgreens or whatever, or Rite Aid. And it got there, and then it got sent back, and then it got there, and then it got sent back for like 4 days. And I was, sick because I thought I had lost the knife that my niece found. Finally, I guess the manager received it again, opened the box, and saw it. And here's the thing, not my actual name on the letter inside, but my last name twice. So kind of two mistakes there. And I called again, thankfully. I was going to file a claim with UPS, and they said, yeah, it's here. Interestingly, they had opened the inside box also and saw that it was a knife, but they were cool about it and everything. So that was my most recent experience before this. So when I sent these in, I specifically mentioned in the warranty form that situation and asked them to make sure that they, got my name right. So I sent these in, and the reasons I sent them in were I bought this knife. It was on a sale on Amazon, and the edge came with some big burrs. And then I used it just to break down some boxes. I didn't hit any staples, and to cut a sunflower plant. And I'm going to put a picture in here of what the edge looked like. So really big burrs, some what looked like huge rolls, not really chips, but just big rolls. And it just didn't look right. Now, I will say that I am not someone who has had a lot of serrated knives. I've had a couple, I've used them, and I still didn't think it was normal. Having such big rolls, almost to the point of chips, and huge burrs on a pretty much brand new knife that had only been used for cardboard and, plant. So I sent it in to have them fix the edge, hopefully get those burrs and rolls out, and, hopefully get that fixed. This knife I had traded for some jiu-jitsu private lessons, and the screws had gotten stripped in the process of adjusting it once I got it and everything, which was my fault. And I wanted to send it in to make sure they checked that the pivot was working well, because these Dominoes are known to have issues with the pivot, and then to fix the screws. So they got the knives and they gave me a call, and basically they said that I was wrong about the box, that it did have my name on it. And that's whatever. I don't think I was. I think that it didn't have my name on it. I wish I had taken a picture. I think I might have taken a picture of the box. I'll try to find that. But they said that my name was on the box, and the reason that my name was just my last name twice in the letter was some issue with how they entered it in, and that they were, that they had fixed it or something. They also said my address wrong a couple times, so I had to make sure that for these knives, they had my address right. And it was like they didn't understand the idea of rerouting the UPS package to a pickup location. They wanted to check that they had my address right. And I was like, yeah, you have my address right, but I had it redirected. I don't need it to be sent to the CVS. I just had it redirected because it said it was signature and I wasn't going to be there. And they basically said, well, it's not signature. they, don't send it with a signature. So maybe they don't. I don't know. I thought that was what the email said that I got from UPS. But they don't send it signature. And so I don't need to do that. And like, they still didn't quite understand, I don't think, that I didn't like have a different address and have it redirected to my different address, but that it was like a pickup. So it was weird that they weren't familiar with that. The other thing that they said was that it's normal for the washers to have cupping from the ball bearings in Domino's. So that's something that I hadn't heard before. They claimed that it is normal for the washers in the pivot here to have the cupping from pressure from the ball bearings in the pivot. So that's interesting that that's normal. I'll talk about how it came back to me in a second, but they also said that to take those screws out and replace them would be a charge of $25. I guess anytime they disassemble the knife, they charge you $25. So I wanted to get the screws replaced, so I agreed to pay that, and that's what we got. So first of all, I want to talk about this one. So this knife came back, and the first thing I noticed is that it looks like way different, in my opinion, on that edge. So I'm gonna again put a picture of the edge up here so that more so you can compare it. And hopefully I'll be able to get it so that they're side by side here. But first of all, this area is obviously like really sharpened. I mean, they took a significant amount of metal off there, in my opinion. The other thing is that all of these ridges of the serration teeth are much less pointy. So hopefully, again, you'll be able to see that. I'm going to give a little bit of a close-up here, but they're much less pointy. The other thing is that, and I really hope you'll be able to see this, where there were some of those rolls, they actually didn't get them out. So this is really close up, but if you can see right there, there's still some rolls in those little teeth areas. It looks like there's some, I just got these yesterday and didn't use them at all. Looks like there's some polishing compound or something in there because they were trying to get those out, but they actually didn't. There's still some rolls in the insides of those very small teeth there. So to be honest, I don't know if it was necessary to sharpen it this much, to take that much metal off. I literally don't know. I'm not saying that I disagree with it. I'm saying that I don't know because I haven't had much experience with serrated knives. I will say if it is, then I really am not that happy with it. I think that it took quite a bit of metal off, and it's just a lot. The thing that I got this knife because the plain edge wasn't available with the deal, the discount. I probably would have gotten the plain edge if it was. But I did want to try a serrated edge for the use that I intended for this knife, which is a water and camping knife. But so I can sharpen a serrated knife, like if it's just, somewhat dull, just, using the rods on a sharp maker, I can sharpen inside those teeth. But I can't take rolls and chips out because, you need to have a grinder that works for this. And if they're going to have to take that much metal off every time they do that, I just don't see it being that practical. If you have to send it in to get those chips out or rolls out, if it's going to roll because of the edge being so thin and you have to send it in to get rid of those, I just am not sure that I'm big on the serrations. Now that I'm looking at it, I do think that there's still some burrs. I might have been imagining it. Nope, there's a big burr right there. Yeah. Yep. So I don't know. I'm sure there'll be people who say, oh, no, that's fine. Serrations, it doesn't matter if those, ridges are pointy, and no, it doesn't matter if they take a bunch of metal off. But I honestly am not that happy with it. I'm going to maybe use it and keep it. I might try to sell it. I don't know. I got it for a good deal, so, at least I didn't pay full price for it. So sorry to be a little bit negative about that one. Moving on to this one, I don't love that you have to pay $25 for them to take the knife apart. It seems a little bit excessive. I understand that it takes them time and everything, but you know, they're not inexpensive knives. They're expensive knives. Maybe pay $5 for the screws or something like that. But I'm not super into the $25 charge for taking the knife apart. Now that said, they actually did a good job with this one. It was pretty much centered like this before, so no real issue there. Obviously has new screws. The screws were kind of mangled before, to be honest. And like I said, they said that the pivot, the cupping doesn't matter. So I'm just going to not take it apart, I guess. But it's smooth and everything. They obviously sharpened it. I don't know if they polished it too or something. I feel like the blade looks different. But either way, it feels good function-wise. Now, an interesting thing they told me is that you are only supposed to turn one of these screws. And it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me because this isn't, if I recall correctly, which I'm pretty sure I do, this isn't like a male and female type pivot where one of the screws goes into a tube of the other. It's two, you know, screws and a barrel. So I don't know why you would only be supposed to turn one, but they said the show side or the carbon fiber side is the only one you're supposed to turn. So interesting detail. I'm going to try my hardest to not have to turn it at all because I don't want to strip it again. But I am happy with this one. I mean, for $25, it looks reconditioned. I don't know if they put a new clip on. It does look like it. They must have refinished it completely. Even the handle looks a little bit different, I think. So I don't know exactly what they did with this knife, but it looks good, and I am happy with this one despite the cost. Now I want to talk a little bit more generally about Spyderco's warranty. Another knife that I sent in a little bit longer ago is this knife. And this is the Spyderco Chalkway. I love this design. I got the Watu because I love this design so much. Carried this knife for a long, long time. It's just a really great knife. But the problem is that, like many Spyderco frame locks, it doesn't have a lock bar insert. And they say some of them are carburized on the lock bar. This one definitely isn't. This knife developed the worst lock stick I've ever seen. I literally had to pry it open with a screwdriver several times. And I sent it in, and they just literally said, there's nothing we can do to improve the condition of this knife. So maybe it's like it reached its life expectancy, but I don't think it had. I think that, you know, you should be able to use a knife for a long, long time. Certainly there are traditional slip joints that are 150 years old that still function, you know, that still open and close without needing a screwdriver. And so I was really unhappy with that they said that there was no way they could improve the function of it. Now, you're probably looking at this, if you haven't seen my other video about this knife, thinking, well, the lock stick isn't bad now. That's because I fixed it. So I had to do a whole bunch of work on it to get it to even be usable. And it is usable now, thankfully. But it's kind of another one of those things where this was a bad experience. I was unhappy with, you know, the fact that they didn't do anything for that knife. The experience with the knife my niece found, not great, for sure. Maybe it was an issue with me that I, you know, rerouted it and everything. I don't know. And then with these, I'm really not that happy with this knife. The more I think about it, the less I'm happy with the sharpening on it. This one I'm okay with, but I just don't think you should have to pay that much for taking the knife apart. And then the last thing here is I sent a knife thought sticker in the box of the Caribbean. Just like, you know, I've got knife thought stickers, and I thought send one, you know. I don't even care who takes it. Just like the person who opens the box takes it, that's fine. But they sent it back, so I don't know if they have a policy where they can't take anything like that or what, but apparently they don't like stickers. So not the best experiences with Spyderco's warranty. I've been buying less expensive knives from other brands. I love Spyderco. Most of the knives I carry, modern knives I carry, are Spyderco knives. I really like their designs. I like the way they make knives, but I've been buying less expensive knives from other brands, and I have to say that every time I use the warranty, it's not a perfect experience, and it's kind of frustrating. So I don't know. I'll probably still be buying Spyderco knives, but something to think about. They did sharpen the knife. They did, you know, fix the pivot and the screws, but not quite the same experience you might have from other companies. So we all know what companies have really good warranties. Benchmade has a great warranty. Kershaw, ZT have really good warranties. Now, one that a lot of people mention, SE or EC knives. I've got a whole history with them. I don't think that their warranty is what they say, but I don't want to get into that right now. Mainly, I just wanted to, give you my experience the last couple times I've used the Spyderco warranty and show these knives here. But if you've enjoyed the video, if it's been helpful to you, consider liking it and subscribing to my channel. And if you want to, get notifications when I post new videos, hit the bell, and then check out my social media at Knife Thoughts and my website, knifethoughts.com. And last but not least, don't forget to go out and do good.